It's one of the biggest fears retirees have. What if I run out of money? And here's the truth. Not everyone does, but certain patterns, habits, and decisions put some retirees at much higher risk than others. And over the years, I've noticed three common types of retirees who struggle. And it doesn't matter if they have $500,000, $2, $5, $10 million. If they fall into these traps, their money drains way faster than they ever expected. So today, I want to walk you through the three types of retirees most likely to run out of money in retirement, and of course, how you can avoid becoming one of them. Hi, I'm Mark Wisniewski, President of Southern Incomes. In this video, I'll break down the three types of retirees who often run out of money, why it happens, and of course, what you can do to avoid falling into the same traps. If you find this helpful, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more retirement insights. And if you'd like to stress test your own plan, book a time with me using a link in the description. Type 1, the overspender. This is a retiree who treats retirement like a permanent vacation. For decades, they've worked hard, they've saved consistently, and they've dreamed about the freedom of not having to answer to a boss. But once they retire, the spending floodgates open up. Oh boy, new cars, boats, big trips, helping kids and grandkids with large gifts, remodeling the house. And now there's nothing wrong with enjoying your money. After all, you earned it. But the problem comes when you withdraw too much too quickly. Here's the math. Say you have $1.5 million and you want to withdraw $120,000 per year to fund that lifestyle you've always dreamed of. That's going to come in at around 8% of your portfolio each year. And historically, a withdrawal rate that high is almost impossible to sustain for 30 straight years. By the time you hit your mid-70s or 80s, the money is going to be gone. I had a client once, let's call her Linda. She retired at 62 with just about $2 million, and she felt invincible. She traveled, upgraded her home, and she just gave generously. By 75, she was down to around $700,000 total, and she started to panic. What's the fix here? Well, create spending guardrail strategies. Instead of just pulling a fixed number no matter what, you set safe withdrawal ranges that adjust based on market performance. This way, you still enjoy your money, but without putting your entire future at risk. Type 2, the fearful investor. This one might surprise you because when people think about retirees running out of money, they of course imagine overspending. But just as dangerous, and sometimes even more dangerous, is the retiree who spends too little. I call this person the fearful saver. These are the retirees who've done everything right their entire lives. They worked hard, they saved diligently, and they reached that magic number in their account. But when retirement finally arrived, they can't shake the habit of saving. Instead of enjoying the nest egg that they built, they hoard it. They live like they're still scraping by, even when they have more than enough. On the surface, this seems safe. After all, if you don't spend, you can't run out, right? But here's the hidden trap. When you park all your money in cash or all other ultra-conservative investments, it's inflation that quietly eats away at it. Think about this. If you have $1 million sitting in CDs earning 2%, but inflation is running at 3 to 4%, you're losing purchasing power every single year. And over 20 years, that $1 million, it's going to buy half as much. Yes, you didn't lose money in the bank, but you lost lifestyle in the real world. I had a couple once, Jim and Carol. They retired with about maybe $2.3 million. They were terrified of the stock market, so they kept almost everything in CDs and other very safe bonds. At 65, it sure felt secure. I remember he said to me, "We don't care if it doesn't grow, we just don't want to lose our money." But by 75, their monthly expenses had nearly doubled due to inflation. Their Medicare premiums were higher, groceries were higher, utilities were higher. Meanwhile, their income from those CDs hadn't kept pace. They weren't broke, but they felt broke because their spending power had eroded so much. And here's the emotional cost. Fearful savers, they often deny themselves the joy of life. They skip out on what they've always dreamed about. They say no to helping their kids. They worry about constantly spending every single dollar. And when you add it up, they risk not running out of money, but running out of time to use it. So, how do you fix this? The solution isn't to just gamble in the market. Instead, it's to find balance. A healthy retirement income plan usually has 3 parts. First off, you have short-term cash buckets. That's going to take care of you from 1 to 3 years of your living expenses. It's all set aside so you can feel secure no matter what the markets do. And then you have a midterm bucket. That's in bonds and other stable assets that cover you for years 5 through 7. And of course, your long-term growth bucket. This is invested more aggressively, and it's designed to keep pace or even beat inflation over the decades to come. This way, you're not taking unnecessary risks, but you're also not watching inflation quietly destroy your entire lifestyle. And perhaps more importantly, you don't need a spending plan you trust. When retirees see in black and white that they can spend $8,000 or even $10,000 a month and still be fine all the way out to age 95, it gives them permission to enjoy what they worked so hard to save. Because here's the truth. You don't win retirement by leaving the biggest account balance behind. You do win by using your savings to create a life that's well lived. Type 3, the tax-blind retiree. A third type of retiree who runs out of money isn't reckless, and they're certainly not too cautious. They simply ignore taxes. Here's what happens. They retire with most of their savings in tax-deferred accounts. That's going to be their 401ks and IRA rollovers. And they think, I'll just take out what I need each year. But what they don't realize is that every dollar is going to be taxed as ordinary income. And add in Social Security, which also may be taxable, and suddenly they're paying far more than they ever expected. Worse, once they hit age 73, they're going to be forced to start taking required minimum distributions, or RMDs. And if those RMDs push them into higher brackets or trigger Medicare surcharges called IRMAA surcharges, their taxes start ballooning. I work with a retiree named Paul. He had his $1.8 million in an IRA, and he thought he was going to be fine. But by his early 70s, his RMDs alone, get this, were over $70,000 a year. That pushed his income higher. His Medicare premiums jumped, and he was paying nearly $20,000 a year more in taxes than he ever expected. And over time, that kind of drain accelerates how fast your money runs out. The fix? Tax diversification. Building Roth accounts, using Roth conversions strategically, and balancing withdrawals across different buckets. It is not about dodging taxes. Instead, it is about controlling when and how you're going to pay them. Actually, I just thought of one more retiree who runs out. We'll call this the bonus type, the unplanned retiree. So I have one more to add to the list, the retiree who never really had a plan. They relied on the rules of thumb, like the 4% rule or some kind of online calculator, but they never stress tested their income against real-life scenarios. What if markets drop 20% in the first 5 years? What if you live to 95 instead of 85, like that report told you? What if healthcare costs were to double or healthcare costs tripled? Without a plan, even $2 million can feel like it's slipping away. But with a plan, even $800,000 can feel secure. So who runs out of money in retirement? The overspender who drains too fast. The fearful saver who loses to inflation. The tax-blind retiree who lets the IRS take way more than expected. The good news is, don't have to fall into any of these traps. With the right spending guardrails, a balanced growth strategy, and of course, smart tax planning, you can turn your savings into a paycheck that lasts. If you'd like help building a plan that avoids all of these pitfalls, book a call with me using the link in the description. Let's make sure your money supports you, not just for the next few years, but for the decades ahead.